The internet is on fire and fans can't believe what they're hearing. Rumors are spreading like wildfire. And at the center of it all is a shocking claim that has left the entire love and hip-hop community stunned. Mena, known for her fiery personality and no-holds-barred attitude, has just dropped a bombshell that no one saw coming. She's pregnant and she's allegedly claiming that Mendeecees might be the father. Yes, you heard that right. While Mendeecees is still very much with Yandy Smith, Erica's bold statement has sent shockwaves through the fanbase. How did this happen? When did it happen? And most importantly, is there any truth to it? Sources close to the situation claim that things started spiraling after a recent love and hip-hop shoot, where Erica and Mendeecees were spotted having several off-camera conversations. Yandy reportedly had no idea anything was going on until now. Emotions are running high, accusations are flying, and fans are demanding answers. Is this just another attention-grabbing stunt? Or is there more to the story than anyone expected? Stay with us because what happens next will leave you speechless. The morning after Erica's post, the city buzzed with gossip. News outlets, fan pages, and podcasts all locked in on the growing scandal. One blogger claimed to have seen Erica leaving a clinic with what looked like the paperwork tucked into her purse. Another swore they overheard her on the phone saying, "I already know what the results are, but I want him to say it." Whether these claims were true or not didn't matter. They added more fuel to the chaos. Fans were glued to their screens waiting for any kind of confirmation. Then came the leak that would shake everything to its core. A digital copy of what appeared to be a prenatal nudis began circulating online. It had two names blurred out, the alleged father and the mother, but the document looked legitimate. The results, however, were clear. A 99.8% probability. The internet lost its mind. Some claimed the test was photoshopped. Others insisted it was the smoking gun. The drama hit an all-time high while Erica remained silent. Her followers flooded her comments demanding answers. Is it true? Why aren't you saying anything? This changes everything, but she didn't respond to a single message. Meanwhile, Mendeecees was spotted leaving a restaurant in Atlanta with his manager. Paparazzi caught up to him and when asked about the dinner results, he simply shook his head and muttered, "No comment." But his face told a different story. Tired, stressed, and clearly under pressure, fans began reading into every small detail, his body language, the way he avoided eye contact, even the way he clenched his jaw. It all hinted at guilt. The silence was no longer working in his favor. Yandy, on the other hand, was crumbling behind the scenes. Insiders close to her said she had been crying for days, barely eating and refusing to leave her home. Friends tried to support her, but she wasn't speaking to anyone. One source claimed she told a confidant, "I don't know what's worse, the betrayal or the humiliation." To fans, Yandy had always seemed like the strong, composed one. Now, seeing her broken like this was heartbreaking. Supporters flooded her page with love and encouragement, but even that couldn't shield her from the storm. Then came the most unexpected twist. Erica agreed to sit down for an exclusive interview with a popular podcast. The teaser clip went viral before the full episode even dropped. In it, Erica sat in a dimly lit room wearing a hoodie and barely any makeup. Her voice trembled as she said, "I didn't want it to come to this, but I won't be silenced anymore." When the episode finally aired, fans were hanging on to every word. Erica revealed that she and Mendeecees had been close during a rough patch in his marriage. She claimed it started innocently, just conversations, venting, bonding over stress, but eventually things crossed the line. "I'm not proud of it," she said, wiping away a tear. "I knew it was wrong when it happened and I never expected to get pregnant. But once I did, I had a choice. Lie to everyone or face the truth. And I chose the truth." The room fell silent. Even the host seemed caught off guard. Erica continued, explaining that she'd reached out to Mendeecees privately, hoping to handle things quietly. But when he started ignoring her messages and acting like nothing had happened, she felt forced to speak out. "I kept thinking he'd do the right thing," she said. "But instead he tried to make me feel like I was crazy, like I imagined it all. And that's when I knew I had to protect my child, even if that meant burning bridges." The confession sent shockwaves across the internet. Fans were stunned. Many praised her courage. Others questioned the timing and motives. But the overwhelming feeling was disbelief. This wasn't just tabloid gossip anymore. This was a real raw confession, and it couldn't be ignored. The fallout was immediate. Mendeecees posted a long text-only message on his story. In it, he didn't confirm or deny anything directly but wrote, "People will say anything when they feel hurt. I've made mistakes, but I've never turned my back on my responsibilities. My silence wasn't guilt. It was protection for my family." The post only raised more questions. What mistakes was he referring to? Was he admitting to something? Fans dissected every line trying to decode the truth, but nothing was clear. That same night, Yandy went live. Her face was pale, her energy low, but her voice was steady. "I know you all want answers," she began. "But honestly, I don't have them. I've been blindsided like the rest of you." She paused, taking a deep breath. "I love my husband. I believe in our family. And now I'm just trying to figure out what's real." Fans flooded the chat with messages of support. Yandy continued, "If this child is his, we'll deal with it. But I won't let lies destroy me. I need the truth, not stories, not blogs, not speculation, facts." A few hours later, another video surfaced. This time of Mendeecees and Erica during a behind-scenes moment from a previous shoot. They were laughing, standing close, and looking way too comfortable. Fans who had dismissed the idea of them having a connection suddenly had second thoughts. "Look at the body language." One TikTok user commented, "You can't fake that kind of tension." The clip was dated just a few months before Erica's pregnancy announcement. Changed everything. Just when people thought it couldn't get messier. A woman claiming to be Mendeecees' ex from years ago entered the chat. She posted a cryptic video on TikTok saying, "History repeats itself when lessons aren't learned." She didn't name anyone, but everyone assumed she was referring to Mendeecees. The comments section exploded with theories. Some fans even speculated that Erica wasn't the first to face this kind of situation with him. The narrative began to shift. Was Mendeecees hiding more than just one secret? Erica, seeing the chaos unfold, posted another message. This time a photo of a crib being built with the caption, "Getting ready regardless of who steps up." It was a direct shot at Mendeecees. The implication was clear. She wasn't going to wait around for him to claim responsibility. Fans admired her strength while others questioned her methods. But one thing was certain. She wasn't backing down. And as the drama thickened, producers at Ville 1 saw an opportunity. Rumors began swirling that an emergency taping was being scheduled with all three involved. Sources said they wanted to film a sit-down between Erica, Mendeecees, and Yandy. Insiders claimed that Erica agreed immediately. Mendeecees was hesitant and Yandy. She refused at first, but after some negotiation, she reportedly agreed on one condition: that she would get to speak last. Fans couldn't believe it. The idea of all three being in the same room confronting the truth on camera was almost too much to handle. The countdown to the confrontation had begun, and the internet was bracing for impact. And as the taping approached, emotions were running high. Erica posted another story. This time, a sonogram picture with a voice note playing over it. It was a baby's heartbeat. "Every beat reminds me why I'm speaking up," she wrote. The message hit hard. Fans were now emotionally invested. Whether they supported Erica, Yandy, or no one at all, they all wanted one thing: the truth. And it felt like the truth was finally on its way, whether anyone was ready for it or not. The day of the sit-down taping finally arrived, and tension was so thick, it could have been sliced with the knife. The set was dimly lit with just enough glow to capture the expressions on everyone's faces. Cameras were rolling, producers were on edge, and the atmosphere backstage was like a pressure cooker ready to explode. Erica arrived first, dressed in a simple black outfit, her belly showing just enough to remind everyone what this was all about. She looked calm on the outside, but anyone paying close attention could see the way her hands trembled slightly as she clutched her phone. Mendeecees showed up 10 minutes later, looking more nervous than anyone had ever seen him. He kept checking his watch, pacing, rubbing his forehead. The producers tried to get him to relax, but he wasn't having it. "Didn't sign up for this circus," he muttered under his breath, though he made no move to leave. He knew walking out would only make things worse. And then the last to arrive, Yandy. She didn't speak to anyone. She walked in, chin high, eyes cold, wearing all white like she was attending a funeral. And maybe in a way she was mourning the relationship she thought she had. The three were brought into the room one by one. Erica sat on the left, Yandy on the right, and Mendeecees directly in the center. There was no moderator, just 3 chairs and the brutal weight of unresolved tension. Silence filled the room until finally Erica broke it. "So, we doing this or not?" Her voice was firm, but her eyes betrayed her vulnerability. Men's cleared his throat. "I don't even know where to start." Yandy scoffed. "Start with the truth, maybe." Erica leaned forward. "I already told my side. I'm not here to argue. I'm here because my child deserves to know who their father is. And the world deserves to know what kind of man you really are." Mendeecees shook his head slowly, tried to keep his voice level. "I never said the baby wasn't mine. I said the situation is messy, and it is. You went public before we even had a chance to deal with this privately." Erica cut in sharply. "No, you ignored me. I tried to reach out. I tried to keep it between us. You ghosted me like I was some groupie, so I did what I had to do." Yandy folded her arms and driving this all over social media. "That's what you had to do." Erica turned to her, her voice quieter now. "I didn't want to hurt you. I really didn't. I know how this looks, but put yourself in my shoes. I'm pregnant. I'm scared. And the man who might be the father is acting like I don't exist." Yandy's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them away before they could fall. "I've been in worse shoes. And trust me, betrayal doesn't come with a manual. But all of this circus, you made a choice too." Mendeecees finally spoke, his voice tight. "I made mistakes. I'm not proud of them, but I didn't ask for all this noise. I wanted time to figure things out before it turned into a reality show." Erica laughed bitterly. "You're a reality star. Mendeecees, your whole life is a show." That line stung, and for a moment, the room was silent again until Yandy whispered almost to herself, "Was it ever real?" Mendeecees looked at her, eyes softening. "What we had was real. This, I don't even know what this is." The producers watching from the monitor knew they had struck gold. The raw emotion, the confrontation, the heartbreak, it was all happening in real time, and the cameras were catching every second. Fans watching the leaked preview clips were going wild. Everyone had picked a side, and the internet was ablaze with debates. Team Yandy versus Team Erica, and Mendeecees was getting dragged by both sides. Nobody was letting him off the hook. As the sit-down continued, Erica pulled out a small folder from her bag. "These are the official nails," she said, handing them over. Mendeecees hesitated, then took the papers and began to read. The silence stretched for what felt like minutes. Then he closed the folder and looked up. "It's mine," he said simply. Yandy closed her eyes, exhaling sharply. Erica didn't flinch. She'd known the truth. The room felt like it had cracked in half. "So what now?" Erica asked. "You still planning to disappear?" Mendeecees rubbed his temples. "I'm not going anywhere. I'll take responsibility, but this changes everything." Yandy stood up, pacing slightly. "Damn right it does. You had one job, to be honest. And you couldn't even do that. I've held you down through prison, drama, everything. And this is how you repay me." Her voice cracked and finally a tear slipped down her cheek. "I was fighting for us while you were sneaking around." Erica looked away, giving Yandy her moment. "I'm not asking you to forgive me," she said softly. "But don't blame me for the choices he made." Mendeecees stood too, trying to speak, but the words wouldn't come. Yandy turned to him, shaking her head. "I'm done talking. I'm done fighting. You two figure out whatever mess you made. I need time." With that, she walked off set, leaving behind an eerie silence. The producers called for a break, but the damage was already done. Outside the studio, Yami's car was surrounded by paparazzi. She kept her head down, but one reporter managed to ask, "Are you leaving him?" She didn't answer. She didn't have to. Her silence was louder than any statement. Meanwhile, inside, Erica sat alone in her chair, staring at the empty space where Yandy had been. Mendeecees finally spoke. "This isn't what I wanted." Erica looked at him, tired. "But it's what you made." The episode aired just 2 days later, and the response was explosive. Millions tuned in, and the comments section was a battlefield. Fans were heartbroken, furious, stunned. Some praised Erica for her bravery. Others slammed her for going public. Yandy received an outpouring of love and support. One showed Mendeecees with the caption, "Can't spell VCs without mess." Another had Yandy in a crown with the words "Unbothered Royalty." It wasn't just online reactions. Endorsements were being pulled, brand deals put on pause, and insiders whispered that Veil One was considering re-editing upcoming episodes to reflect the fallout. The scandal had taken on a life of its own. In the days that followed, Erica posted several updates showing her preparing the baby's nursery, sharing her journey without naming names. Yandy, meanwhile, went quiet. No posts, no stories, just silence. Fans speculated whether she had moved out, filed for separation, or was just trying to heal. Mendeecees posted a cryptic video of himself at a church, the caption reading, "Trying to find peace." But no amount of captions could erase the damage. Friends of the couple began speaking out anonymously. One source claimed, Yandy was blindsided. She knew things weren't perfect, but this she never saw it coming. Another insider close to Erica said she didn't go into this to destroy anyone. She just didn't want to be ignored. She wanted her child to be acknowledged. With emotions running high and no clear resolution in sight, the world continued to watch, waiting for what would happen next. And just when people thought things were starting to settle down, another bombshell dropped. Someone claiming to be Erica's cousin went live on Instagram, showing screenshots of old messages allegedly between Mendeecees and Erica. In them, he's seen calling her beautiful, telling her he can't stop thinking about that night, and even saying, "I wish things were different." Whether the screenshots were real or not, it didn't matter. The damage was done. Fans had already made up their minds. As the dust began to settle from the interview, the then test, and the emotional confrontation, one thing became painfully clear. Nothing would ever be the same again. The baby wasn't even born yet, and already the world had picked sides, drawn battle lines, and turned a private scandal into public entertainment. But behind the memes and the gossip, real lies were unraveling. And the story wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Mendeecees sat alone in his car for nearly an hour after the taping, his phone buzzing nonstop with notifications, calls from producers, texts from unknown numbers, and social media mentions pouring in by the second. He knew his world was falling apart piece by piece, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. He scrolled through the comments, each one hitting harder than the last. "You ruined everything. How could you do that to Yandy? Another baby. SM." He closed the app, tossed his phone onto the passenger seat, and just stared at the steering wheel, frozen in disbelief. Meanwhile, Yandy had retreated to a close friend's house, avoiding calls from everyone, including family. She needed space. She needed quiet. She needed to breathe. The hurt was deeper than betrayal. It was humiliation. She had stood by him through everything. Prison, rumors, public scrutiny, and this was the final blow. She spent the next 2 days in hiding, not answering producers, not checking messages. Her kids were with her, and they were the only reason she hadn't completely lost control. She smiled for them, played with them, made them feel safe, but behind closed doors, she broke down over and over again. Erica, on the other hand, was stepping into a different kind of chaos. While some fans applauded her for telling her truth, many others were dragging her through the mud. She got messages like homewrecker, attention seeker, and worse. Strangers showed up at her job. People called her family members. Her address got leaked online. It was more than she ever expected. And even though she tried to put on a brave face, the toe was starting to show. She hadn't even had her baby yet, and already the child was at the center of a media storm. The producers at V1, sensing how massive the story had become, began pushing for a full episode centered around the fallout. Behind-the-scenes footage, confessionals, leaked audio, everything was being compiled. They even considered doing a live reunion special just to ride the wave of drama. But there was one major problem. Yandy wasn't responding. And without Yandy, the story had no closure. She was the heart of the narrative, and her silence was more powerful than any interview. The pressure to get her back on camera grew intense. Mona Scott herself reached out, leaving a voicemail that said, "You don't have to say anything you're not ready to say, but the fans need to hear from you. Even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's just to close the chapter." Yandy listened to the message, then deleted it without replying. She wasn't ready. Not yet. Not when every move she made would be dissected by millions. Not when she was still trying to figure out whether her relationship had ever been real. Back in the city, Mendeecees tried reaching out to both women. He sent long texts to Yandy, apologizing, begging for another chance, explaining how scared and overwhelmed he'd been. He promised to take responsibility for the baby, to be there for Erica, but never crossed the line again. He told Yandy she was his world, that what they had couldn't be erased. But the messages were left on read. He tried calling straight to voicemail. He even showed up outside her friend's house once, but the door never opened. She needed time and he had to respect that, even if it was killing him inside. He also tried to smooth things over with Erica, but those conversations didn't go well either. She was angry. Angry that he hadn't defended her more publicly. Angry that he was suddenly trying to act like the victim. Angry that she had to carry the weight of public shame while he got to hide behind vague apologies. "You made this mess," she told them in a heated phone call. "You wanted to live like a king juggling two lives, and now that it's all blowing up, you're acting surprised. Nah, you don't get to play confused now." The call ended with Erica blocking his number. She didn't care about the cameras, the show, or the headlines. All she cared about was protecting her peace and her child. She knew that once the baby arrived, everything would change again. And she wasn't going to let the same man who ghosted her during her pregnancy walk in and pretend to be a hero. Not unless he earned it. As the days passed, new rumors started swirling. Some claimed Mendeecees had been spotted with a mystery woman at a lounge in Atlanta. Others said Yandy had moved into a new apartment and was already meeting with a divorce lawyer. Even Erica's name got dragged into fresh gossip with blogs alleging she had a secret boyfriend all along, and the baby might not be Mendeecees after all. None of it was confirmed, but it didn't matter. In the world of reality TV, perception was everything, and this storyline was spiraling into something nobody could control. A few producers pitched the idea of filming scenes separately with all three of them, trying to piece together the story without forcing them into the same room. Mendeecees agreed. Erica hesitantly said yes. Yandy didn't respond, but just when everyone thought she was done for good, she posted a single black screen on her Instagram story with the words, "Sometimes silence is strength, but I'll speak soon." The internet went wild. Blogs reposted it within minutes. Fans flooded the comments with support and curiosity. Even the official VE1 page reposted it with the caption, "We're listening, Queen." A week later, she showed up to the studio. No cameras, no announcement, just her walking in with her team. She requested a private, unfiltered confessional. No producers, no audience, just her and the camera. They agreed immediately. She sat down, took a deep breath, and started to speak. Her voice was low, calm, but firm. She didn't hold back. She talked about the betrayal, the pain, the sleepless nights. She talked about being tired. Tired of fighting for a man who didn't know how to fight for her. Tired of being the strong one. Tired of pretending everything was okay. "I gave him everything," she said, eyes welling up. "I built a life with him. Stood by him when everybody told me not to. And now I'm left picking up the pieces of something I didn't break." She paused, took a breath, then added, "But I'm not bitter. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done." The confessional ended with her saying she would always do what's best for her children. And right now, that meant protecting her peace no matter what that looked like. It was raw. It was real. And when it aired, it broke the internet. Millions watched, millions cried, millions applauded. The story had shifted once again from scandal to strength. And while some fans still wanted Mendeecees and Yandy to reconcile, most agreed that she deserved better. Erica, meanwhile, stayed quiet during that week. No new posts, no statements. She was focused on getting through the final weeks of her pregnancy, determined not to let the noise drown her out. Mendeecees watched Yandy's confessional alone in his apartment. He didn't say a word, just stared at the screen, tears in his eyes, the weight of his actions crashing down all at once. He had broken something that might never be fixed. He had destroyed trust that took years to build. And now he had to live with that truth. The public might forgive him eventually. The network might spin it into redemption. But deep down, he knew he had lost the one thing he thought he could always count on. And as the city buzzed with reaction videos, pink pieces, and trending hashtags, the three of them found themselves on different paths, connected by scandal, but separated by pain. The baby would be born into chaos, but maybe also into clarity. Because what had started as a secret had turned into a reckoning, and the story still wasn't over. Not yet. Days turned into weeks, and though the media frenzy had started to slow down, the real-life consequences were only deepening. Yandy had officially moved out of the shared home, opting for a smaller, more private space in a gated community where paparazzi couldn't reach her easily. She kept her circle tight, limiting who could visit and who knew her location. For the first time in years, she was choosing herself without hesitation. The show offers, interview requests, and brand deals kept pouring in, but she declined most of them. Her focus was on healing, not headlines. Meanwhile, Mendeecees found himself slipping into a spiral. With Yandy gone and Erica silent, he was left alone with his thoughts and the guilt. He tried to throw himself into work, showing up for meetings, pretending like he still had control. But his mind wandered constantly. Every studio session, every event, every night at home, it all felt empty. He missed his kids, the warmth of family dinners, the way Yandy used to check in on him with just a look. And even though he knew he had caused this, part of him still didn't understand how it all fell apart so fast. Erica was nearing the final stretch of her pregnancy, and though her body was tired, her mind was sharper than ever. She spent long hours journaling, trying to process everything. Her baby shower had been canceled due to all the chaos, but a few of her friends still came over to throw her a quiet, private celebration. No cameras, no drama, just love. She smiled more that day than she had in months. But even in those moments of peace, there was a lingering weight. What kind of world was she bringing her child into? What kind of father would Mendeecees really be? When the baby finally arrived, a healthy baby girl with a full head of hair, Erica felt a mix of joy and dread. She held her daughter close and cried silently, not from pain, but from everything she'd been carrying inside. She sent a short message to Mendeecees. "She's here, safe, healthy." He replied instantly, asking to see the baby, offering to come to the hospital, but Erica told him, "No, not right now," she wrote. "She deserves peace. I deserve peace. We'll figure out the rest later." He didn't push. For once he listened. The news of the birth leaked just a day later thanks to a nurse who recognized Erica and tipped off a local blogger. Headlines exploded again. Mendeecees' new daughter arrives amidst family chaos. Erica gives birth. Yandy silent on social media. The timing couldn't have been worse. Yandy had just started opening up again, trying to move forward slowly. And now this. She didn't respond to the news publicly, but close sources said she broke down when she saw the baby's photo online. Not out of jealousy, but because it made everything so final. Bev One producers reached out once more, now hoping for a special episode documenting the baby's arrival in the next chapter in the saga. Erica declined outright. Yandy didn't even reply. Only Men's agree, showing up for a solo shoot where he talked about becoming a father again. How he wanted to do things right this time, how he was learning from his mistakes. The segment was emotional, but also full of contradictions. He talked about growth, but the comments online were quick to point out he hadn't really done much to prove it. It was all just words again. The network began to pivot. They saw an opportunity to shift the narrative toward redemption and co-parenting, painting Mendeecees as a man trying to put his family back together. They pitched a miniseries, even floated the idea of a therapy-centered spin-off. But Yandy wanted no part of it. For her, the cameras had already taken too much. She didn't want healing to become a spectacle. She wanted real peace. She wanted her kids to grow up away from the noise. Still, she couldn't fully escape the show. Fans followed her everywhere, both online and in real life. Anytime she stepped out, phones went up. Anytime she posted, the comments blew up. Some people begged her to forgive him. Others praised her for walking away. But all of it kept dragging her back into a story she was trying to end. Even her kids started asking questions. Why don't we live with Daddy anymore? Why are people talking about us? She did her best to protect them. But it was clear the damage wasn't just between her and Mendeecees anymore. It had spread to everyone. Mendeecees tried reaching out again after the baby was born. He sent flowers, gifts, voice notes. He even wrote a letter hand-delivered to Yandy's new place. In it, he admitted everything. But he asked for one thing, just one. "Let me show you I can be better. Not for us, for our kids." Yandy read the letter alone in her room. She cried again. But this time not out of pain, out of exhaustion. She was tired of being the one who always had to decide what came next. Weeks passed. The media buzz slowed. A new scandal took over the headlines. Fans moved on. But behind closed doors, the three of them were still dealing with the fallout. Erica focused on her daughter, choosing to raise her in peace. Away from the spotlight, she considered moving out of state, starting fresh somewhere no one knew her name. Yandy returned to her nonprofit work, helping young girls find their voice, a mission that now felt more personal than ever. And Men's. He started going to therapy. Real therapy, no cameras, no crew, just him, a chair, and the weight of his choices. Over time there were small shifts. Yandy allowed Men's to see the kids, but only under supervision. Erica let him visit the baby once, but made it clear she was in control now. They weren't friends. They weren't enemies. They were three people bound by broken trust and a baby girl who didn't ask for any of this. And slowly, without anyone noticing, the noise started to fade. Then, out of nowhere, the one announced a surprise reunion episode. One night only, raw, unscripted, no filters. The promo had clips of old memories, tears, laughter, even a few shots from the recent confessional tapes. Fans were hyped. Everyone wondered, would all three show up? Would Yandy finally confront Mendeecees face to face? Would Erica speak her truth on camera again? The night of the reunion came. The studio was packed. Security was tight. Cameras rolled from every angle. Mendeecees walked in first, wearing a simple black hoodie, looking nervous but composed. Then Erica holding her daughter, surrounded by a small group of friends. And finally, just when people thought she wasn't coming, Yandy stepped onto the stage. The room went silent. She sat down slowly, looked around, and simply said, "I'm here. Not for drama, not for ratings, for closure." And in that moment, the story wasn't about betrayal anymore. It wasn't about scandal. It was about three people finally facing the truth, raw, exposed, and unfiltered. Because sometimes the loudest endings are the ones that come in silence. And sometimes closure doesn't look like forgiveness. It looks like walking away stronger than you were before. As the reunion ended and the lights dimmed, the silence that followed said more than any script ever could. The journey from denial to confrontation, from heartbreak to hard truths, had been long, messy, and unforgettable. Fans who have followed every twist were left with mixed emotions. Some felt closure, others wanted more. But one thing was certain: this wasn't just another love and hip-hop drama. This was real.